Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood. Welcome to another Government Secrets. We're going to start here in a second. Please hit the like and share button. And of course, support our show because we've got a copyright strike now since Monday. They've pulled the video down and gotten a copyright strike on a video I did from last summer. So they're really coming for us in every way, shape, or form. So, yeah. So I'll be honest, I'm kind of annoyed. And plumber was supposed to come yesterday. I got a leaky sink. He might come today. So I might get a dumb knock on the door in the middle of the show because some moron I don't know how long it takes to be a plumber. So that could happen today, which we're excited about. And yeah, that's where we're at. Yes, I'm still demonetized, and yeah. So, but people aren't smart enough to actually storm Google or the CIA's headquarters. They're not smart enough for that. So go storm another capitol because you couldn't get a haircut during a pandemic. And the reason you're dumb is because the government has made you dumb. That's how today's episode is going to go. How's that sound? So, yeah, like, share, subscribe, and let's go. All right. Hold on. Wait, what's that? Okay. Sorry. Just making sure everyone can see and hear me okay. Kate is our moderator, and thanks for watching, everybody. This is episode 40, I think. Lee Camp.
Hey, man. I'm going to do the opposite energy. What's up, everybody? I'm not, like a yin and yang thing. Hey, this is exciting. 40th episode. Whoa!
It's really disconcerting to have you bring that kind of energy because I've never seen you bring it anywhere. So it's really off-putting. I mean, it's really.
I am fucking thrilled to be here. It's so exciting. I don't have any plumbers coming. I got 0 plumbers on the way right now. It's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. By the way, big 40th episode, the secret dirty truth about how plumbers fucking suck. That's our secret today.
The guy just texted me yesterday, as I was about to go live, hey, can I come by? No. What are you, some college buddy? What are you talking about? You're just
I know there is a weird thing, and I'm sure, I don't want to blame the individuals. I'm sure every individual plumber is fine, but there is a weird, I've noticed that too, that it's the only thing still operating in kind of the 1980s is plumbers and people that got to deliver a stove or something like that. And I'm not blaming them because they probably work, nowadays there's very few individual plumbers. It's they work for a group or a company or something, but it always seems like they're yeah, I'm just, I might come by Tuesday. What you doing Tuesday? You get a call it's an old friend.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a college buddy going, hey, I'm in town, man. You want to, I know I came here on a short notice business trip, and the conference got cut short early. So I don't know, you around to go grab lunch? Oh shit. Yeah. This is plumbers just hey man, I was just knocking on people's doors, seeing if they had a leaky sink. Do you need anything?
Hey man, I know we haven't seen each other in a few years, but I just happened to be in town. I thought I could check out the feces that's jammed up in your toilet. Is that something we could do? Just hang out and do that?
Hey, it's weird, but my rental car has an extra garbage disposal in it. Do you want me to install it? I mean, would that help?
But man, I'm sorry to hear about the copyright strike. They really are going after everything. The latest thing was someone told me they just demonetized We Are Change, which is a very successful long-term channel. They've been around since Occupy, covering protests and covering a lot of important things. And assuming this has not been undone by YouTube in the past 2 days, they were demonetized.
And they're they will take the copyright strike down by August 2nd if I go to copyright school. Like, these are their words. There's some like re-education camp that I can go to learn about literally, I have to
stop.
Yes. Copyright school.
Please tell me you got to wear a uniform.
Yeah.
They give you a little Boy Scout outfit, and you get like a little badge.
Yeah.
You figure out copyright.
And then we got to sell copyright cookies to raise money to get copyright strikes taken down. So we're going to go door to door selling copyright cookies, explaining to people how copyright law works and selling them cookies. And if we sell enough, then they'll take down our copyright strikes and we get to go to Disneyland. So it's really fun.
Jesus Christ.
These motherfuckers
I remember.
better hope I don't become a fucking crypto billionaire, because I'm gonna hire fucking Navy SEALs to just wipe these cocksuckers off the face of the earth. Anyway, I'm sorry, you were gonna say something. What were you gonna say?
I got you with the term crypto billionaire. You erased my brain, so I'm not. I have no idea what I was about to say. But.
I'm gonna start my own League of Shadows.
Crypto League of Shadows.
Crypto League of Shadows.
I way back before even Moment of Clarity was a thing. I had started a YouTube channel and I was putting things on it, and like within the first few months, I got a copyright strike because I showed. Not a copyright strike, a community guideline strike for showing quote unquote nudity. And I had shown a like Esquire magazine cover. So it was like a cover of a well-known magazine, and it didn't actually have nudity. The girl that it showed was sideways, so you couldn't actually see anything. And it was the cover of like fucking Esquire. And they were like, you had nudity, so you already have one of 3 strikes for eternity on your channel. And if that happens, then we'll just delete you.
Dude, they pulled down my Gates video because it was medical misinformation and I was like quoting like Salon and The Guardian, who were being critical of Gates for not releasing the patents for the COVID vaccine.
Right.
And that's medical misinformation. Yeah.
Now we're in a weird fucking world where you can literally, it actually, it's funny because I'm going to mention Columbus on this episode. And we talked about him in episode 12. And one of my points was like, if you're a kid in American schools and you write, Columbus didn't discover America, he showed up when millions of people were here and he genocided everybody, you will fail that test for putting the truth on it. And I feel like we're now in the adult world of that, where like you speak the truth on your channel and your channel will be deleted. But if you speak like utterly fake news, like the Russian bounty story, or the latest one was this one they've all retracted, all outlets are retracted, that Giuliani was briefed by the FBI on how Russia was going to get him. If you repeat bullshit like that, then you're the top of the mainstream media.
God. What a dumb world we live in. What a dumb world. If ever there was a time we needed an alien invasion, it's now.
Well, that's why the Pentagon started telling us that there's alien crafts or whatever the fuck. They were like, here, you just take your mind off things with this.
Or are they like, oh man, we know they're coming for us, so we're just going to kind of give people a little bit of a heads up by putting this info out there because there's nothing we can do about it. That's my thinking. They know we're done, and they're just like, yay, Elon, build that rocket. So we can, so we can
build that rocket so we can put guns on it so we can fight these motherfuckers. I think I should pause a moment and do the wonderful job we always do of letting people know what's coming up in this episode. We are going to dig into the truth that you're not allowed to know in schools, at least American schools, about Ferdinand Magellan. Really kind of mind-blowing shit about him. And we're going to dig into some of the truth about the death penalty that your government doesn't really want you to know. And we have an update on this is the second week in a row. We have an update came out the day after we taped on a topic that we didn't even realize was coming. This is an update on May Day, which we talked about last week. May 1st it was International Workers' Day. Then it became Law Day by Eisenhower. And then this week, it's something new.
It's Loyalty Day.
Biden just declared it Loyalty Day. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, loyalty to what? Like a fucking flag, a little piece of fabric that you like the colors of? Or is it the military? You got to show loyalty to your military. Or is it loyalty to like a certain like fistful of dirt that happens to be between two lines we made up? Look, this dirt, I'm loyal to this dirt. Like, what are you fucking loyal to?
So you didn't have a Loyalty Day barbecue? Is that what you're saying? You didn't get American flag wrap bacon hot dogs and celebrate your loyalty? That's weird. Wow.
I mean, I did, but then I'm just being loyal to delicious. Okay. My loyalty is too delicious, even though I don't eat meat, but loyal to I'm faking raped, did I say raped? Faking wrapped, faking sausage, fake.
Loyalty Day is such great, like, it's like butterscotch pudding for the brunch crowd to eat and not realize that Joe Biden is also a fascist. Right? It's literally like
rainbow colored butterscotch pudding.
It's rainbow colored butterscotch pudding for them to all eat. And there's a vegan plant-based option version. And they eat that and go, see, Trump was bad. We got rid of him. Now let's celebrate Loyalty Day. Like, this sounds like in the V for Vendetta comic books, it would be like in there. It's like purity through strength. Is a slogan from that dystopian futuristic world that we are now living in. But maybe that's why I keep getting copyright strikes and demonetization is I'm not loyal enough to.
Oh, you're terribly disloyal.
I am terrible.
You're the worst. But yeah, no, I think comic book is accurate. I mean, we live in like a comic book reality in general.
Yeah, for sure. So welcome to Government Secrets, episode 40, May Day update, Loyalty Day.
And for those who are tuning into this episode, missed last week, definitely check out last week for the truth about May Day, the origins of it. And, you know, we got into how important it is. And in most countries, it's International Workers' Day. And then the following day, or actually that day, like while we were taping, we just weren't watching Joe Biden. He was declaring it fucking Patriot Day or Loyalty Day or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Patriot Day's in the fall. So, that's you never know. You never wear white after Patriot Day. So you just go Loyalty Day to Patriot Day. And that's how we know when the summer begins and ends.
And if you stick an American flag up my ass, I can wave it while I'm doing other things. So we all need to be doing that, really.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, I have a quick update too. I bought another electric car, Lee. I did.
Jesus.
Leaf update. Now Graham owns a Chevy Bolt. Because I was going to get
at least Bolt update sounds more badass than Leaf
Bolt
update.
Well, it's a Chevy, so it's an American car. I was going to buy a Nissan Leaf, but I was like, boy, on Loyalty Day, I better get an American car. So I celebrated Loyalty Day by buying a Chevy Bolt. So I'm excited. This car's got almost a 300-mile range, Apple CarPlay. It's a fantastic automobile. And
does it have enough range that you can drive into the ocean when it's time to do that?
I just need just enough to get up speed, go off and just go off a ramp into the ocean. So I'm excited, and I knock on wood. Hopefully this car will last longer.
Just my luck. My Chevy Bolt would, just run out of battery right as I'm getting up to the ramp to just plummet off that cliff. I was, right there. I'm like, goodbye, cruel world. And then I hear boom. God damn it. This piece of shit.
And then right as it's there, then a meter maid walks by and just puts a ticket under the windshield wiper.
And then I have to spend weeks calling the Chevy people being like, I need a better battery so I can get off this cliff.
Oh, well, the Cliff batteries are back ordered because of COVID. So we can't just do that. So you're just going to have to jump yourself off the cliff. Oh, Christ. Of course I do. But there's a copay and a deductible when you kill yourself off a cliff. Without
you got to take the car off the cliff. Listen, I'm going to go out in style. I'm going to go out surrounded by cup holders. Okay. Surrounded by the new car smell. I want to go out in class. I'm not fucking just walking off a cliff.
Well, as we get into our segments now, we've someone has offered to help, and we have fancy slides and stuff like that.
Which Graham looks thrilled about. Graham's like, oh, motherfucker's always offering to help. I can't. Kate always showing up, offering to manage things.
Now I gotta read stuff and I gotta click on more things. It's just like, come on, man. Like, it's just there's all these emails to read. I'm like, I just prefer to just I'll show you what I did. I literally just put in
I love how put out Graham is by someone helping. It's just like, and the plumber's going to come here and he's going to do things. And it's just like, God, I can't. I got to open the door for you. Jesus. What am I, Job? This fucking, this is the worst.
What am I, Job? I can't. I just like things kind of, I guess I've been living alone too long, and I just like it's like somebody going, hey, I'll come and organize your apartment. No, you're gonna I won't know where it is.
Then you're gonna ask me like, hey, do you have any more containers? I'm like, I don't know.
God. I can't watch baseball highlights when you're asking me these questions. Yeah, I'm so put out. You said we're talking to this. You're like, well, I usually spend about an hour prepping for the show, and Graham usually does 15 minutes, which was like the most accurate appraisal of what I do. And so literally I'm getting on to minute 18, 19, 20, and I'm just like, this is murder. This
is like doing taxes.
I can't. What do you want me to do? Clean out your rain gutters next? This is a disaster. Like, I can't do this.
I think I've said this before, but I like when Graham shows up with wet hair. Like you can still tell the surfboard's in the corner of the room. He's like, I had to click record. I had to.
It's like I get out of the water and check my phone, and there's a text from Lee going, what do you want to talk about today? And I'm like, oh shit. Oh yeah, I better go home and shower and find something that's literally. That's all I want to do. Lee, the fate of truth and democracy shouldn't rest on the shoulders of like 5 comedians and a couple of like soccer moms. Like,
I agree.
Why is this on our shoulders?
I fucking agree, man. It's like, you ever notice when people put out, because now we've added Katie Halper, who was, I don't know if she still does stand-up, but she was doing stand-up when I knew her years ago in New York. We would do stand-up together. So now we've added her to the list. So it's like whenever people are like, here's the legit media, and they tag everyone, and it's like you got me, Graham, Jimmy, Ron Placone, Katie Halper. I'm like, this is 2/3 a list of comedians. Why?
Like, what? This is like, like Steph Zamorano, and then they're like, and Glenn Greenwald. I'm like, I should not be on the same list with Glenn Greenwald and Chris Hedges. I am sorry. I don't.
It's like Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, and then 7 comedians, and then Chris Hedges, and we're like, this is why.
No. Like Whitney Webb, and then me, Whitney Webb, who just comes on my show and has so much information, and I'm just like, I this is beyond. I feel like, and all the cool stuff I've been involved with, like the Assange stuff, and I'm like, oh, Graham, and like Susie Dawson, these people have put their lives on the line and sacrificed, and hey, Graham, do you want to talk to Bill Binney? what? I don't deserve to talk to a cryptographer from the NS. Like, what am I gonna talk to him about? The time I hosted game shows? What the fuck?
I feel the same way. For a long time, I largely didn't ask like the people I respected most to like be on my because I have Redacted Tonight, but I have an interview show, Redacted VIP, as well. And I like wouldn't ask them to be on because I was like, you shouldn't want to talk to me. You really shouldn't. I mean, and like John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, is coming on the show, and I'm like, but why? Why? I know we asked you to come on, and I know you said yes, but I don't get why this is happening.
It's like, I remember meeting Dr. Jill Stein, and she's like, wow, you're a truth-telling hero. I go, you were locked up for just wanting to be in a debate. Like, what am I? I mean, you're better than me. You're better than, like, you're a better person than I am. Like, I don't. Like,
Graham's like, I thought I was doing everything right when I was hosting a strip poker reality show, and it's like, it's like, why? How did I end up here?
What happened? Why is this like? Oh, great. And then, oh man, it's all right. Well, let's get into our first segment of government secrets. I got into being a comic because I didn't want to have a real job.
No, like, I know.
Right? Like I told my mom in high school, I said, I'm going to have a job where I don't have to wear a suit. And I said, and I've never like these nice shirts with stripes on them and little pockets that I got at Ross. Like, this is the most dressed up I want to get. Like, this is me taking the show seriously as I stopped wearing superhero t-shirts and was like, Graham, it's time to.
Now, listen, now it's time. Okay. Now it's time. I bought the t-shirt that has the tie painted on it. So I think doesn't get more legit than that.
It has a little pocket on the shoulder. So it's really, this is you like dressing up to be an adult. Like, I still feel like I'm wearing like my older brother's hand-me-down suit on picture day. That's just a little ill-fitting. Like, that's how I feel.
I slowly gave in to wearing, not to anyone in particular, just to my own ideas. But when I started Redacted, I always wore vests and like button shirts on like for stand up and stuff. I never wore blazers anywhere. I felt uncomfortable in them. But then we were like a year into Redacted, and I put on a blazer for like one show. And all of a sudden, everybody was like, "This is like the Daily Show, but it's speaking the truth." And it was all of a sudden everyone was comparing it to the Daily Show, basically because I put on a blazer. And I was like, all right, if you guys really need a blazer, if that's like something that's really important to you, then.
I remember one of the last times I was on TYT, the last month we were doing Jimmy had said he wasn't going to do it anymore, but he hadn't announced it. So they were like rotating in people to do aggressive progressives, and Ron and I would do it, and Malcolm Fleischer and a couple other people. And I was there, and they're like, oh, we really want you to wear a blazer. And I said, is that why people are tuning in, is because of the blazers? And I said it in front of like some head people at TYT, and they all kind of looked at me, and I was like, yeah, I'm a comic. I think this is bullshit. So,
yeah. Even though I was never on internal meetings or anything, but I remember I was on with whenever I would come out to LA, I'd go on Young Turks. And so I was on with him once for something. And I had that, like, I didn't disagree with what the Young Turks were doing, but I found a lot of it to be fluff. And so we're in the middle of like this fluff story. And I was like, what the fuck are we talking about? I didn't say fuck, but what the hell are we talking about? The world's on fire. Like, literally, all of the wildlife is dying. And weird, the mainstream media is talking about what? What are we talking about? And Jake was like, I know. And then he goes back to the story. like, I know. And then he fucking brings it back to the story. And then they ended up using, rather than being, I thought that might make them like think like, yeah, we are covering a bit too much fluff. These are kind of meaningless stories. Rather than doing that, they used that clip of me yelling that in like promos going forward.
What? Oh God. Really, it's down to us. There's literally 7 comedians and some like soccer moms forced into activism, and we're the ones that got to save the world.
Yeah. So and reveal the true government secrets.
The true government secrets. So, we had a big meeting about not doing this on air, but who wants to go first?
Well, we have a slideshow. So the slideshow is set up to tell Graham what to do. Go first. And by the way, I think I can share my screen, so we'll try that later.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Once it gets to my part.
All right. So let's all right. Let me see this. I'm already feeling put out because I have to.
You know how to hit share screen. You do it all the time. You can do this.
You can do this, buddy. You can do this. All right, here we go. Government secrets first segment. Graham's put out. All right, is this all right, there. It's kind of
hold on. In the upper right corner is a thing that says like present. Click present.
Oh, there it is. Present.
Boom.
Oh. Is that doing it?
I think it's coming. Okay.
Is that because I can see it on this is a problem I think sometimes with streaming.
Oh no, it doesn't show it. It just says click to exit full screen.
Yeah, this is a problem. I knew it. This is why
I guess we can show them the small version of the slides, which almost defeats the point of the slides.
This is my favorite. All right. I don't know how to make this.
Shit, man.
This is so great. God, I love it. This is why. Okay. This is. Well, yeah, I don't know what. I'll just.
So, and there's no way to click those and.
Let's see. Can I? No, that's like editing it.
Right.
Hold on.
Well, this could be a StreamYard problem. I don't think we're to blame for this.
Yeah, this is a StreamYard problem, I think. Whoops, now it's going nuts. Oh, God. What the fuck? I don't even know what's happening. Oh, God damn it.
Hold on, just go up to percentages, yeah. And, well, that's a bit big.
What is this?
Change the percentage down one notch.
What did I do?
Hold on.
I don't know why there's government seat. Now it's like, what happened? How did those logos get over the top of it?
I have no idea.
How did this happen? God damn it. This is driving me insane. This is why I can put out so easily. Lee. This is like shit like this drives me fucking insane.
I've never seen so much go wrong so quickly.
This is why I can't do this. I just want to, it's smaller now. It's worse. I made it worse. I can't do this stuff. All I could do is just share.
All right, hold on. I got another. Share my screen. Can you share my screen? Because I hit share screen. Is that mine?
I think that's yours. Yes.
Oh wait, now we lost your audio. Oh, you're away from your mic.
I'm away from my mic. Yes, this is yours. Oh, hold on.
Then that means I can at least show these.
Is this you? We're sharing. Okay.
I don't know that, but is it even useful like this, or is it too small?
I mean, if someone's watching this on a widescreen, it kind of works.
All right, we'll just cut through it like this time. Whatever.
Hey, Malcolm, we appreciate the work you've done. We really appreciate. But this is. I guess I should have. This is. Technology drives me goddamn insane. It drives me insane. I love it in the one hand where we're live streaming to people all over the world, but then this kind of shit drives me insane. Like,
I appreciate what you're saying, but you also have a pretty sweet setup. I mean, you got shit scrolling across the bottom. You got a weird blue void behind you. Like, you got your shit. You got your shit down.
That's what I'm saying. I've got it set, and then if I introduce anything new, it just finds it. It's just like, and I know I get a little bit. I'm like C-3PO, like, well, what are you doing? R2-D2, like anything different makes me flip out. But all right, I don't know how to read this, but we'll I really.
This is the most preparation we've ever put into a show, and this is the biggest catastrophe we've ever had.
All right, there's a bigger one. What the fuck is that now? Okay. Hold on. I think I got it back to normal on my side.
All right.
So let me try to share. All right, I'm going to remove yours and share mine again. Yeah, this is what. All right. I mean,
that's as good as we're gonna get. So,
all right. So in this segment, the new DNA has come out. So this is the thing about the death penalty, which I don't think we've ever talked about the death penalty on this show.
hold on. Try one more thing. Share my screen again.
Okay.
Because I want to see if it shows the full. See, now it's big.
How'd you do that?
Well, I just did present slides like you did, but for some odd reason, because it's got your whole. Yeah, StreamYard's fucking up, but it doesn't fuck up on my end. So let's go with this.
Perfect. I love it. All right. So that means you can control your slides too then when we get to your segment.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. So I don't know that we've ever talked about the death penalty on this show, but one of the things that this country likes to do is kill people. and so now there's new DNA information emerges in the Liddell Lee case 4 years after he was executed. So if we go to the next slide, this was in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette or something. That sounds like a bunch of fake newspapers, but we're going to take it as a legit source. It sounds like
the idea that there would be an Arkansas Democrat. I mean, the closest they get is Bill Clinton. So
I know it's like the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Like, come on, man. You just
I think it's the Arkansas Democrat Gazette Times Herald. I think that's what it is.
Doesn't it sound like a fake newspaper?
A little bit.
Like in a comic book? All right. So in this comic book newspaper, it said 4 years after the execution of an inmate convicted of murdering his Jacksonville neighbor in 1993, new DNA evidence has emerged revealing genetic material and fingerprints from an unknown male, according to a report released Friday from the Innocence Project and the ACLU. Liddell Lee maintained his innocence until he was executed April 20th, 2017 for the murder of Deborah Reese. Lee was convicted in 1995.
Nice of them to get around to testing this 4 years later.
You don't want to test it before the guy could potentially, an innocent person could get murdered. You know what I mean? That's just something like there's a backlog. I get it. You know what I mean? Science labs are backed up.
Well, yeah, I'm sure the guys in the labs are like, look, okay, he's going to be executed soon. That's not going to make me do this any faster. We have that scheduled for 4 years from now.
Yes. And I doubt, and we're going to find out here in a second, it's not like a judge could have ordered this test to happen before the execution date. And it's weird. The South kind of moved slowly and didn't care that an innocent black man was killed. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, it wasn't on their priority list.
No, they don't have a history of that for 200 years. So the next slide, DNA testing of evidence from the crime scene, including the murder weapon and a bloody shirt, revealed the profile of an unknown male. New fingerprints found on crime scene evidence could also not be identified, according to the Innocence Project and the ACLU. The DNA and fingerprint profiles have been entered into a national database, but so far no matches have been identified. So that's
clearly not him.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but feels like that's a pretty bold case for some reasonable doubt.
Yeah, slightly.
Just a touch. And then if you go to the next slide, this is from KATV News, Gazette, Herald, Times, online. Lee was the first of 4 inmates executed in April 2017 before its supply of lethal injection drug expired, which they're like, oh, hey, these are going to go bad. We might as well use them. Is that what the hell they did in Arkansas? Like,
well, but it gets even crazier than that. So the drugs they were using nationwide, not just Arkansas, were using for lethal injection, stopped being made by the pharmaceutical companies in other countries or stopped being shipped to the United States because they realized they were using them to kill people. So other countries were like, we're not going to fucking help you kill people. So they cut off the supply. And then the so lots of states couldn't execute people because they didn't have this specific kind of chemical. One of them, I can't remember which, maybe Oklahoma, like tried a new cocktail and it was fucking awful. It was like the guy said his skin was on fire for like a half an hour before he finally died. And then Donald Trump and his administration decided to start secretly amassing these chemicals so that they could kill a lot of people. And they told the companies that were producing them that they weren't using it for the death penalty. Like they didn't tell them what they were using it for. So it was like a secretive, let's get a big warehouse full of killer chemicals like program.
America is totally normal. It's not an insane asylum. It's not a death cult. It's not full of like bloodthirsty psychos. It's just really, it's apple pie and lethal injection warehouses. So it's really.
But you know what makes it all better is this koala bear. We now have an image of a koala bear, and that should make it better.
We have an image of a koala bear. So koala bears do make it better. And this is Rebecca Kavanaugh is a criminal defense and civil rights attorney and legal analyst. So these are some tweets that she put out. If you go to the next slide, the forensic testing could have been done before Mr. Lee was executed, but it was not requested by his appellate attorneys until the ACLU and the Innocence Project get involved a month before his execution. At that time, a federal judge ruled that Lee had simply delayed too long and the testing was not done. Instead, Arkansas put him to death. Even after Mr. Lee's execution, Arkansas refused to release the evidence for testing until a court ordered it to do so. So I wonder why the black community doesn't trust the system. I just can't quite put a finger on it.
Yeah. And for those who, here's some more facts on the death penalty that are kind of important right now. The number one cause, because some people are probably like, what? White people are executed too. But the number one cause of death penalty, of those who get executed, the number one determinant, if you look at equal trials, very similar trials, similar circumstances, the number one determinant is race of the victim. Mm-hmm. Because basically, if you kill a black person in our society, that's not that big a deal. But you kill a white person, and that our society views as a real fucking harm to the system. Like you have really stepped over the bounds. And so obviously there's a lot of black people executed as well. And another stat is that the Innocence Project and others have come up with the average that 4%, over 4% of those executed are innocent. I think it's probably higher than that. They just can't prove that. But beyond just those 4%, you then have to add the percentage who are severely mentally ill. So then you get into, 20 or 30%. And then you add the percentage where it's like a true instance of self-defense, like a fucking spouse who's having the shit kicked out of her and then pulls a gun out to defend herself. And many times, especially if the race of the victim is correct, then those people can be executed. So if you get into like wrongful executions, you get all the way up to, 50% in if you add all these percentages up. And it's a disgusting practice. Most countries don't even have it anymore. It's just so repulsive. Honestly, it goes back to such a barbarian time where we were fucking half animal, half fucking monkey, and we thought the answer was to kill these people. And it's just disgusting that the United States ever does it.
Yeah, it's like barbaric. It's like, is this like medieval time? I mean, like it's that we're still doing this, and now that we have DNA evidence, like we have this science at our disposal now, and it's like that should be exercised to the fullest, and like it's more just American lip service of like, it's better to put 10 guilty men free than kill one innocent man. Like, we don't give a shit, especially if you're black, if you're a person of color. And not only that, this ties into a couple episodes ago where you were talking about the history of of violent cops and all the statistics we've brought up. They've killed roughly 1,000 people a year for the last 15 years. And there's only been like 7 convictions or whatever that number was. I forget you brought up.
3 for murder.
Yeah. 3. That's right. 3 out of 15,000. That's fair. And then, I mean, but this just extends across America. So you talk about like, I've done stories on this on my show, Political Vigilante, about murdered and missing Indigenous women. There's this inordinate number of Indigenous women that just disappear or get murdered. And there's these awful loopholes where if it happens on a reservation, if a non-native is suspected of a crime committed on a reservation, the tribal police can't investigate it, and they have to get the FBI. In a lot of cases, there's like in like the Dakotas or something where there's a lot of Native American reservations, there's like one FBI agent for like the whole state or something crazy like that. So there's this, even the cases where there's like, they have a suspect, there's this backlog and they don't even investigate it. That's not even counting the thousands of just women who disappear and nobody knows who they are. And it's like, if one suburban white girl goes missing, everything gets shut down. I mean, like, it's like everything. I mean, and so it's like, it just extends. It's not just the death penalty. It's the murdered and missing Indigenous women. It's police brutality. It's just across the board.
The media doesn't seem to do this as much now, but like 10 years ago, it was just like common practice for them to find a missing white girl and just 24/7 coverage.
Yes.
And it was always a missing little white kid, either boy or girl. And it was never a black kid, never a black girl, or Indigenous or anything other than white. The idea of a white little child going missing was like horrifying to our mainstream media. And it was like 24/7 fucking drumbeat, all of America flipping out. Where is Elizabeth Smart? Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And it's not like I want Elizabeth Smart to be kidnapped, but it was like, that was all. It was never anything other than a white kid. And, you know, I used to have a joke about apparently black kids, you know, never fall for the shit from the guy in the unmarked van. When he offers them a lollipop, they're like, fuck you, motherfucker. Whereas the white kids are like, sure, lollipop, I'll get in the van.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's an incredible racial aspect. And by the way, I just want to mention, there's a pretty good movie, like Hollywood picture about this, you know, murdered Indigenous woman. It stars, I don't remember the name of the movie. It stars
Wind River, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, Black Hawk or Arrow Man or whatever his name is. Yeah. Avenger dude.
Hawkeye. Yeah. It's with the Jeremy Renner and one of the Olsen girls, I forget, Ashley Olsen or something like that, but it was directed by Jim Sheridan, I think. It's called Wind River, and it was the first I learned about this. It came out about 4 years ago, maybe, and I was not aware that this was an issue until that mainstream Hollywood movie came out, and then so it's pretty brutal. And again, you know, I don't begrudge somebody like Elizabeth Smart's parents for, you know, banging the drum to get the news out, but you say it's just so inordinate, you know, like I did a story like a year or so ago in January of 2020, before I was up in Portland before the shutdown. And this girl went missing in Utah, and the police, and it was on CNN, and the FBI was involved and all this stuff. And I think they maybe found the girl or whatever. But it was such an example of like, I don't begrudge that girl's family, but it's so out of whack because look, an Indigenous woman's family, a black person's family, they're just as flipped out and just as panicked and want just as much done for their child, but the system doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really unfortunate. And I don't begrudge any family who gets this kind of coverage, but we have a broken system with our media and our law enforcement that are just like, oh,
right. That's absolutely another factor of it that we haven't mentioned, is that a lot of times that black families come to the cops and say, you know, a kid's missing, and the cops either don't care at all or care a far lesser degree than John Benet Ramsey's missing. Right. And another example, both not white and gay, so the cops really didn't care, was one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims escaped and ran to the police station. And I think he was either, maybe naked or near naked, and said he was being attacked by this guy. And it was clear what either he said it or it was just clear by the fact that he was nearly naked that this was two gay guys. I'm being attacked by this guy, and he didn't. And I think he spoke broken English as well. And the cops were just like, "Oh, whatever, fucking gay guys doing their gay thing," and this, also the guy's not white. And so they just ignore it. And he ends up getting recaptured by Dahmer and, of course, killed. And it's like cops often don't care unless this is a white family.
Yeah. If a straight white kid would have said, "I'm being attacked by this dude," they might have listened. But they just like, "Oh, this is some gay fight or whatever. And he's foreign and who cares?" And that's just like, you see that example time and time and time again. Which is, and again, when people say, "Oh, there's no systemic racism," it's like, no. This case shows you. If we go back to this, let's go back to these slides. So Lauryn Hill has written about criminal justice and has talked about this. Goes into even other cases. There's Dominique Ray. Before Alabama executed him in February 2019, two jurors told me they wouldn't have voted for death had they known about his traumatic childhood. They never got to consider this into trial because his lawyers never told them about it. And so it's not just as this information is shown, the judge's refusal to bring in the DNA evidence of Liddell Lee, but in this, there's just all this stuff they don't want brought in. They just don't want They don't bring any of these cases, any of this information in there. And
then on top of that, you have I know we did at least one episode on, I can't remember, maybe tooth bite analysis or something, but so much forensics is just largely garbage. I mean, tooth bite analysis is garbage. Lie detectors are basically garbage. They're largely just used to basically make someone scared enough to admit they did it, which does not mean it's an actual lie detector. It's just a scare technique. Handwriting analysis, another garbage, quote unquote, science. Arson science, which I have another point on that in a second. Many of these are just like, there's so few people studying them. Blood splatters, another one. There's so few people studying them, and so much of it is not really scientific. It's like theory, like, oh, if the guy pulls the knife this way, then the blood goes that way, and shit like that. That it's largely just used to pin the blame on the people that the cops want to pin the blame on. So percentage-wise, who were they more likely to pin the blame on? Oh, the black guy that happened to be walking in the neighborhood. So a lot of the forensic science is just used to go after whichever person they wanted to go after anyway. And, it could be a white guy. It could be that they were suspicious of the husband and or whatever, and so they just said, "Oh, the blood splatter shows you did it." So it's not just black people or indigenous people, but it's more often used against, in a racial way.
It is used in a racial way, but as this Lauren Gill puts up there, and if you go to the next slide, she talks about Missouri executed Russell Bucklow in October last year after years of challenges to lethal injection. In 2018, the doctor who diagnosed Bucklow with antisocial personality disorder, which his attorneys say swayed the jury to vote for death, admitted he was wrong. So it's like what Lauren Gill is pointing out is all the ways that so not only is it stacked by race, but then they're executing people for just faulty evidence. And then they didn't introduce that this guy was abused as a child. Not that, it doesn't. And some people always say, well, he gets the right to kill people. No, that's not what they're saying. But lethal injection is not they've proven it's not even a deterrent. It's not like
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. If you like, if someone ever wants to debate me on the death penalty, it's like every argument for why the death penalty exists is bullshit. There is not I've never heard a single argument for why the death penalty should be used. Studies show it's not a deterrent, which makes sense because usually if you're getting ready to kill someone, you either think you're going to get away with it or you're out of your mind angry and not thinking about, oh, maybe fucking 20 years from now, I'll be executed. So it's not a deterrent. It doesn't actually save the state money, which would be a ridiculous reason to kill people anyway. But people think it saves money of imprisoning people, compared to imprisoning people. But it doesn't, because the number of legal appeals and court mandated lawyers, it usually does not save the state money. And then people usually come down to closure. But first of all, there's an equal number of families who are like, we don't want this guy executed. It's not going to make us feel better. We'd rather him sit in prison. Some say, oh, it's an easy way out. We'd rather him sit in prison and think about what he did. But so there's many families that don't want execution. But and then people will say it feels good, an eye for an eye. But an eye for an eye is not the fucking law of this land. It's not even an eye for an eye is not the law of the land, even for someone who steals an eye. Like if you knock someone's eye out, they don't sentence you to have your eye knocked out. So an eye for an eye doesn't exist. I mean, it might feel good. It might feel good to see a rapist raped, but we don't sentence them to that. It might feel good to see a dude that killed someone, because he set a fire, set on his house burned down, but we don't. That's not how the fucking legal system works. The only place out of our entire legal system where we do a quote unquote eye for an eye is executing people where we get it wrong all the time.
Yeah, that's such a great point. You don't you were determined at fault for this car accident, so now someone's going to ram into your car.
Someone's got to run into your car.
Someone's just going to smash your car. But more evidence from Lauren Gill, if you go to the next slide, is in March, Alabama executed Nathaniel Woods for shooting 3 police officers, though it was widely acknowledged that he wasn't the trigger man. According to the shooter, all Woods did that day was get beat up and he ran. So,
yeah. Another good example of that is a guy named Kenneth Foster, who luckily activists basically saved his life. He was going to be executed in Texas, a decade ago or something. And he was not even the prosecution said he hadn't killed anyone. He was in a car. His friend got out, got in a fight, killed someone, and he drove away once his friend got back in the car. And so Texas has a quote unquote law of parties where if you're with someone who kills someone, you can be executed. So they were going to execute the driver, despite the fact he had nothing to do with it. And it's fucking horrific. I mean, luckily, basically the governor at the time, Rick Perry, got so worried that the publicity on it was going to hurt his presidential runs that he commuted the guy's sentence. But that's incredibly rare. Most of the times Texas will just kill these people. And in terms of, to go back to arson science, another one that was likely innocent that they executed was Cameron Todd Willingham, also in Texas. This guy was in a mobile home with his 3 daughters, and the mobile home catches fire, and he tries to save them, but it gets too hot, and he runs outside and calls the fire department, and the RV or whatever, the trailer, burns down, killing all 3. And they executed him for setting the fire and killing his daughters. Now, it's almost certain, yes, there's always a possibility, but it's almost certain that he didn't set that fire. An arson quote-unquote expert at the time said, oh, yeah, we know he set the fire because we found whatever they're called, flame, lighter fluid by the doorway, remnants of lighter fluid by the doorway to the thing. But what they didn't present in the trial is that's where they kept their barbecue grill and their lighter fluid. So likely it just all burned in the fire, exploding the lighter fluid at the front door. These quote unquote arson scientists, it's just bullshit. It's basically they go with what they think the cops want them to do. Oh, the cops have pinned it on this guy. So yeah, it was this guy. We can tell that the RV, you know, or the trailer lit on fire by a human being. Like, but it other arsonists, not arsonists, other arson, quote unquote, scientists or experts have said that's absolutely not true. So, you know, add that to the list of innocent people executed.
Yeah, I mean, and also too, the whole, again, part of the problems in how we police is this way it's sort of set up in most police departments that detectives, you know, got to clear cases, which means get a conviction, put it to bed, you know, and hit your quota and get out and get on with it. Like, open cases are no good if you're a cop, if you're a detective, and it's not good for the district attorney and the mayor, and it becomes a political thing because everyone wants to make tough on crime or whatever. It's like, if you want to make detective, you got to clear case. Like, all this, it's all stacked up in favor to just like, who kind of looks like they might be guilty, pin it on this guy, get enough evidence to suggest it, and guilty. We get a guilty verdict. We did. Yay, you won. High five. The district attorney gets another notch in his or her belt, and they can run for office or whatever else. That's what.
And as with Malcolm X, the killers of Malcolm X, and likely with Mumia Abu-Jamal, the cops in the killing of Malcolm X, they were just like, well, let's just round up the black guys we don't like, you know, a couple of black guys we don't like from the neighborhood that have, you know, different religious views from Malcolm X, meaning they were with the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X had broken from the Nation of Islam. So they were like, okay, here's two Nation of Islam guys we don't like and in the neighborhood. We wanted to pin something on them. So two of them, one of them was involved, but he always said, we've covered this on the show before. He always said the other two were completely innocent. And, but two of them were just, the cops were like, yeah, we don't like these two people, these two black guys. And with Mumia Abu-Jamal, it was likely similar that, you know, he was framed for the killing of a cop. The cop did get killed by somebody, but chances are the Philadelphia police didn't know who, didn't have a suspect. And they were like, well, grab the guy who is a well-known, you know, radio show host who's speaking against the government, who's speaking for Black Power. And we'll just grab that guy and say it was him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I think we should, you know, so as we don't drag this episode out too long, I think we should jump to the next topic, maybe.
Oh, shit. You're right. Wow.
Next segment of Government Secrets, Lee Cap talking about the truth of Freddie Magellan.
Freddie. Well, also in my, you know, really, I just want to continue to, you know, bring up your spirits. You know, we're talking. I feel like talking about black people being executed. We did a little bit, and now gutting American history is. It always brings a smile to your face, Graham.
Just learning how awful America can truly be. Yeah, just the broken system of innocent people getting executed, and now more lies that were told to all of us in grade school.
So I think I have to set this up as to why we're talking about Magellan on government secrets. And I think the real thing is like, you're like, this starts at like a very young age. You're told to like worship in a certain sense, this group of largely white people. You know, these are the presidents. You got George Washington and Lincoln, and oh, here are the great explorers who founded the nation, and you know, you got Columbus, who, by the way, I looked up episode 12. Everybody should go back if they want to learn about the truth about Columbus. Go back to episode 12. You know, Columbus is this hero, and he's white too, and we're just told all these incredible people. Oh, they all happen to be white. You know, it's rare that a history teacher is like, "Hey guys, notice that these awesome people are white." It's more just, "Hey, we happen to keep showing you heroes. They happen to all be white,"
which ties into the last story of, and oh, by the way, we just happen to keep showing you bad guys in movies and TV shows, and oh, they just happen to always be black. So culturally, everyone can just sort of accept that, oh, this guy wasn't really innocent, that we, committed to the death penalty. It's like, and doesn't want to believe, oh, he's just finding some loophole in the law. That's how he got out, because for hundreds of years around the world, but in this country too, but in all throughout Western Europe, we've been told, oh, the white people, specifically white guys, were great and they've done everything awesome in history, and black people are less than. People of color, native, indigenous people, whatever, they're just less than. And this is. I mean, I submit, and I'm sure you do too, that your story about, and we're going to get into it, is tied into the first story. This helps create a narrative where jurors or judges or the legal system in general just go, yeah, he's probably guilty, the black guy, Yeah.
No, it absolutely does. And I didn't think about it. This could be another episode of Government Secrets, would be like Hollywood, race in Hollywood. And I didn't really think about it as a kid. Of course you don't, but you grow up, worshiping various cartoons, or, whether it be Peter Pan or whatever else. And it never really occurred to me that, like, wow, every cartoon, every movie that's meant for kids, there's like no black heroes for like black kids to put themselves in the role, to imagine themselves being. Like, if you are going to imagine yourself being Superman as a kid, or one of the other, or Batman, or it's just all white. And I get that Marvel, tried to remedy that by, in the late 90s, introducing probably more black characters. And so there are some now. And I think there's been a black Spider-Man and stuff like that. But it took a long time to even begin to remedy that. So it's like, all of our heroes, everything you see as a kid, it's just all white.
Well, growing up as a kid that collected comics in the 70s and the 80s, there were two black superheroes, Power Man and Black Panther. And
I've never heard of Power Man.
Power Man, he had a comic book, Power Man and Iron Fist. Marvel made it into a series on Netflix. That was really a good series, but he was the only, and I collected Power Man and Iron Fist, and those are the only two that I can think of that are like mainstream comic book titles. And a quick side note, Stan Lee made, in the Marvel universe, Black Panther and Wakanda the most powerful people in the whole Marvel universe, just as a FU to racists.
Nice.
Which is why when that movie came out and was so successful, and they released it in a February, which normally February is considered the dead zone for Hollywood releases, but it just is old, dumb thinking from Hollywood.
Right.
It was like number one in the box office for like 6 weeks. When Black Panther came out, and whatever that was, 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. Anyway, little nerd side note.
little nerd side note to your side note. I remember, and this will relate back to Black Panther, but I remember when I was a kid, because I knew my mom's weaknesses, I saw that there were 2 black action figures for sale. I must have seen a commercial or something. And I knew that if I said to my mom, like, they said there's almost no black action figures, or what, like they say it's very rare or whatever. And so my mom bought the action figures for me. But they were still, and I didn't think about this as a kid, but I think about this now. They were black action figures, but they were black, like Egyptian pharaohs. And so still, even as it's saying, hey, it's okay to be black, it's still like, but still you should be looking up to the oligarchy. Like, it's still the oligarchy. This happens to be a black oligarchy, but still the rich and the powerful are the rich and the powerful for a reason. So let's appreciate that. And there's some of that in Black Panther too. It's still the oligarchy.
Yeah, still the aristocracy of Wakanda.
Right. All right, that was side note upon side note upon side note. But so to get on to Magellan, he is held up as the guy that fucking first circumnavigated the world. That is the big thing. Oh my God, this awesome white guy, awesome white explorer circumnavigated the world. Fucking incredible. Back then, in 1519 or whatever, fucking huge, incredible. And honestly, until like a fucking year ago, I didn't know that he never circumnavigated the globe. Like, at all. At all. The dude never did it. All right.
Just some rich dick that rowed a boat around a lake and went, let's just call it the world and put it in writing, and we'll who's going to argue with me?
So his goal was to get to the Spice Islands, which are, basically Indonesia. Because spices were incredibly, like, you could retire on a bag of cloves. That's like not a joke. That's literal. If you got a bag of cloves back to Spain, you could fucking retire. It was like the Bitcoin of the day. And so he goes on, he sets off on to get to the East Indies, to get to modern day Indonesia in 1519. And he did lead his crew across the Atlantic and through the Strait of Southern America. Well, hold on. I actually don't want to get yet to what the rest of that quote says. But during that time, there's a mutiny. He has 5 boats with him and a large crew of over 200. During that time, there's a mutiny against him. And he was brutal. I mean, maybe most people facing a mutiny would have been. He takes the head mutineer, sneaks up on him, slits his throat, chops his body up, and leaves the pieces on spikes in the cove. I think around Argentina, somewhere around Argentina today, on spikes sitting there. And the body parts were still visible like 60 years later in the cove when Francis Drake arrived. So, Magellan was not a guy to fuck with, let's say. So he then gets to South America. He gets over through the Strait of South America and across the Pacific, which is pretty incredible at the time. We're talking like a year or whatever it took them, or over a year. But he was killed only halfway through the circuit in a skirmish with natives in the Philippine island of Mactan. Now, that quote doesn't really do it justice. It's not a skirmish with natives. He gets there. He has a translator, a slave named Enrique, who is able to translate there's multiple tribes in that area. And he basically befriends one of the tribe, the head, chief of one of the tribes. But he still, he becomes overcome. He no longer seems to want to get to the Spice Islands. He becomes overcome with being like a lord of these people because he has guns, he has cannons. They can't do anything to me. I'm the big white fucking conqueror. And so he says to the chieftain he's befriended, is there anybody you're warring with? Because I will vanquish your enemies. I have our guns and our men. It doesn't matter how many there are. We'll kill them for you. Just tell us what tribe you're warring with. So that chief says, oh yeah, I'm warring with this other tribe over here. And Magellan goes, okay, great. Just give us a minute. We're going to go fucking brutalize, destroy, murder this whole other tribe for no other reason than we want to convert people to Christianity and we want to show how powerful we are. And also, I think he probably thought it would make a good story once he got back to Spain and Portugal. He'd be like, dude, I fucking wiped out a tribe with, there were 1,000 of them and 200 of us. Took me 10 minutes. So he goes over to this tribe and they begin wiping people out, but he gets like hit with an arrow and he's like injured. And then the chief of that tribe comes over and, accounts vary, but basically just fucking murders him in like hand-to-hand combat.
Murders Magellan
in or sword-to-sword combat. Just fucking executes him. And so it didn't go as planned.
So I'm going to wipe out people in the name of Jesus is actually going to get me killed.
Yeah. And for no reason. It wasn't like they got to that strait and, there was a strait and they had to get through and the tribe said, absolutely not. And he said, well, I have to battle these people because it's the only way for us to survive and get through. It wasn't that. It was like him being like, hey, I like murdering people that aren't white. Do you have any? And the that tribe was like, yeah, we got some over there we hate.
Oh, and I love that they did it in the name of Jesus. Like, you remember that segment in the Bible where Jesus is like, just go murder some non-whites because you want to, and do it in my name. You remember that? What was that? Was it Leviticus or which one? Which one was that?
Yeah, it was all in the name of Jesus. I mean, Jesus was a brutal motherfucker.
Yeah. Jesus was like a hippie socialist who was like, you guys did what? It'd be like,
Yeah,
you guys did what in my name? What?
Exactly. So Magellan's death meant that he personally failed to circle the world. You don't say. But his expedition continued on without him. There was a fight between the boats, and one of them actually, one of his ships actually arrives back in Spain in 1522, having completed a successful circumnavigation of the globe. Of the mission's 260 original crewmen, only 18 had survived the perilous 3-year journey. 18 out of 260. And by the way, the investors, and this shows how, capitalism, or at the very least, profit over all else matters. The investors viewed this as a success because they had the bags of cloves. Like 18 out of 260 come back and they're like, well done.
Wow. I don't care that 242 people are dead as long as those cloves made it. Sweet.
Yeah.
Boy, you gotta love, even the early versions of capitalism were just fantastic. Like,
yeah, they really were.
You name a societal ill, name anyone, and we could both trace it back to it's being caused mainly by capitalism.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Without name one, name anyone, name one, like anyone, like pollution. That's capitalism. Everyone was living off the land and in harmony before we had to just make products to do, like, name one. The war, the environment, crime, domestic violence, name one.
Racism. You wouldn't have anything near the level of racism that we have in this society if there wasn't immense inequality. Like, you end up with racism with people fear for their security, and that can be financial security, it can be security for their family, it can be security in multiple ways. But if you have equality and people don't feel for their fear for their security, they don't think, hey, tomorrow I could not know how to pay for healthcare, then their anger and their disgust and their frustration and their fury is not able to be channeled towards, let's get the black people.
Oh yeah, dude. But it all traces back to shit like this 400 or 500 years ago, because look at 500. I mean, look, they went around the globe, got murdered people, tortured the natives. As long as they got their cloves, they didn't get, like, all of it. Stealing of the Native American land was for money. Slavery was for money. Like, all of it. Columbus came here for money. Butchering natives. I mean, all of it was just like so we could have money, trade routes. I mean, this has been happening for centuries of just murdering people for money and creating racism. Well, they have resources that we need. Well, we have more weapons because we're so greedy and awful, we've created more efficient ways to murder so we can wipe these people out and take their land and their resources and their trade routes. Like, capitalism is the worst.
Yeah, I'd say so. And you like, well, anyway, I wish I should keep going because I'll get off on a tangent for a half hour. But so then comes up the question, well, if Magellan, the thing we've been told in our history classes, our whole lives, if Magellan was not the guy that fucking circled the globe, then who the hell was it? Who should we be looking up to as like, wow, that's the first guy to do it? And I'm sorry, they were all men, so it is a guy. But so one theory is Juan Sebastian Elcano, who took over the trip. The most obvious candidate is Juan Sebastian Elcano, a Basque mariner who took control of the expedition after Magellan's death in 1521 and captained its lone surviving vessel, the Victoria, on its journey back to Spain. Elcano and his sailors stand as the first people to have successfully voyaged around the world as part of a single journey. But they may not be the first humans to have circumnavigated the globe over the course of a lifetime. So, yes, they were the first to do it as a single trip as a goal. And, that's incredible because it's like, wow, we've been lied to our whole lives. And furthermore, Elcano, actually, for the initial years after this trip, Elcano was viewed as Magellan is today. Elcano was the guy that those areas, Portugal, Spain, and maybe around there, viewed as like, wow, this guy fucking did it. He got around the globe. It wasn't Magellan. However, a Magellan kind of supporter and maybe sycophant or whatever ended up writing the history that, and I think he wrote it in English as well, that ended up getting to like the rest of the world, getting to especially the English world and Britain. And he wrote the history as if Magellan was the hero. So that's where you have history shift from talking about Elcano to talking about Magellan. However, it doesn't end there. Because actually, Elcano may not have been the first person to cross. Many historians give the honor to Magellan's Malay slave, Enrique. He was the translator I mentioned before. Magellan had seized Enrique from Malacca during an earlier 1511 voyage to the East Indies. And the Malay later served as the expedition's interpreter in the Pacific Islands. Enrique had previously traveled west with Magellan from Asia to Europe before joining in the voyage across the Atlantic and Pacific. So by the time the mission reached Southeast Asia, he had very nearly circled the globe and returned to his homeland, albeit over the course of several years and multiple voyages. So what this quote's not saying is Enrique, after Magellan dies, Enrique says, well, I had a deal that I was free upon Magellan's death. And the ship that was going to continue on said, no, you're still our translator. You're still the slave. We still own you. And he said, no. The fucking deal was Magellan dies. I'm free. And so he said, fuck y'all. And he went on his way and he was in the Philippines, not that far from his, birth town or whatever is, where he was actually from in Malaysia. And so he likely continued home, at which time he became the first person to circumnavigate the globe.
Of course it was like a person of color that actually did it. And then they just said, oh no, the white guy did it. Of course, that's what happened. It was a slave that they lied to. Wow. So
yeah. We are told, oh, it's Magellan. Oh, this is the guy. You look up to this guy. Great expeditioner. Great voyager. What an incredible dude. Meanwhile, the actual guy that was traveled around the entire earth at a time when it took years to travel around the earth, eating rat stew and fucking, drinking boot leather. It was Enrique, a slave, who actually did it.
So the Magellan navigation app should change it to Enrique the slave.
Yep, they should change it to Enrique. Yep.
Oh, what a fantastic government secret, man.
Oh, and by the way, Enrique might have been his his name that they gave him when they captured him, because they didn't want to say his real name, which this statue, people might not be able to read it, but this statue says it's of Panglima Awang, a.k.a. Enrique. So I'm guessing his real name was Panglima Awang, and that's who we should learn about in our history books.
We should learn about Panglima Awang. We absolutely should learn about that. I don't care about Magellan's bullshit and his failed expedition and he gets murdered. I don't care about that idiot. He's just some dumb rich white guy that couldn't get it done. Oh, wow. That's the map of the whole journey. Look at that.
There's the journey.
Wow.
I mean, it is. I was trying to picture it in my head. It was when they. So first of all, you have to imagine they get through the Strait of Magellan. It's now called. It should be called the Strait of Panglima Awang. The Strait of Magellan, they get through there, which was incredibly difficult. And already they've had multiple mutinies. It's been a catastrophe. It's taken longer than they expected. Oh, they're out of supplies as well because they were shortchanged on the supply when the boats were filled with supplies. And then they get across there and they think that they're right next to the Spice Islands, like Malaysia and Philippines. So they venture out into what we now call the Pacific Ocean, thinking, oh, any day now we're going to see the Spice Islands and this is all going to be great and we're going to be filled with riches. And instead, it is 17 weeks of eating like rats and boot leather. Like,
and just octopus omelets or whatever they're having.
Yeah, just misery.
Wow. This was a fantastic government secret. Just really historical. Good. So kids, thank you for watching. Magellan's a lie. Another thing you were told. Magellan's a complete lie.
Yep.
Well, Lee Camp, that is a fantastic government secret. Magellan was a liar. Pang Wong, but what is it? Paglima
Awang.
Paglima Awang, ladies and gentlemen, your new Magellan. Well, that was a fantastic episode, despite my not wanting to do it at the beginning. It was really it was fantastic.
We did it, man. I think we cheered you up, and the plumber never showed up in the middle of this.
Yep, it's great. So whenever he shows up now, it's okay. Well, all right, buddy. And it's good to know too that you can also share these slides now that we're.
I thought, honestly, at that moment, I thought you were jumping in the vault to go off the cliff. That was the moment.
I was really close when it was like, and I was somehow clicked on something to make the slide smaller. Like, I don't know how that happened.
And to bring the government secrets logo over top of them all.
How did that happen? I'm the Magellan of slides. Like, I'm not good at it. I should not be in charge of this. But you were the Pagliwa Ongwong of the Google Docs.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. That means a lot.
Well, Lee Camp, where else can people watch you do the fantastic work that you do?
Well, first of all, I highly recommend that anybody who's new to this podcast, first of all, give us a 5-star rating. That actually matters on all the iTunes and everything. Also, go back and listen to past episodes because, as you might have noticed, almost everything we do is evergreen. Unfortunately, they're not going to start teaching the truth about Magellan tomorrow in our schools, I don't think. So most of it's evergreen. So go back. If you want to hear the one on Christopher Columbus, that's episode number 12. You can hear about his awesome killing. And all my stuff's at leecamp.com. New Redacted Tonight comes out tonight. That's we'll put it up at leecamp.com. And my Twitter is at leecamp.
Yeah, and if yourself or any family or friends are like, man, they shouldn't be tearing down those Columbus statues, just listen to episode 12. There you go. That ought to, and just listen to us reading out of Columbus's own journal, in his own words, of how evil he was and why he should never have a statue anywhere. Like Columbus University needs to change the name of everything.
Where I live in the District of Columbia.
Yeah, that should be DP, the District of Pagawa Angwong is what that should be called, baby.
Oh, there was I don't know if it was actual bill, but there's some Congress people were saying it should be changed to the Douglas something. I don't know what the C stands for, but anyway, after Frederick Douglass. So they were going to keep the initials DC, but they were going to make it stand for something else.
I see. Well, folks, please go back and whether you're watching or listening to Government Secrets, like it, share it, positive reviews, tell people about it. We're only 40 episodes in. We haven't even been doing it for a year, which is it's a lot of fun to do, except when I'm given more than 14 minutes of work. And is
it maybe you could get like a waterproof phone, you could work on reading things while you're on the surfboard, actually?
Yeah, that's what surfing's all about, getting work done on a multitasking. That's why you go surfing. It's like people that are like bringing an iPad on a hike
Dude, I was on a hike. We were in the middle of fucking Shenandoah National Park. It's gorgeous. The trees are in bloom. There's just nothing but waterfalls and fucking animals and shit. And coming up the trail, we start to hear like, fucking Creed or something, like Nickelback. And then we passed two people, and the guy's got his phone out playing like Nickelback as he walks by us.
I was on a hike yesterday and somebody was playing music, and I'm like, yeah, why would you want to listen to the birds and the wind and be completely submerged in nature when you can have some of your dumb Spotify list on your stupid, whatever Amazon speaker that you've got ziplocked on your dumb hiking bag, you moron. Like, anyway, so don't bring music on a hike. That's stupid. Anyway,
moral of this episode.
Magellan didn't do shit, and don't bring music on a hike.
Magellan didn't have his fucking Spotify that he was playing on his ship.
No, he didn't. And if he did, maybe that's why they killed him. They're like, who wants music on this boat? We want to eat shoe leather or whatever.
Yeah, in peace.
In peace. Folks, check out my show, Political Vigilante. We stream 4 or 5 days a week. We got, and then of course, go to rockfin.com. Lee and I both have a lot of content on there. It's a great way to support what we're doing. I am way more dependent upon Rockfin now that YouTube has demonetized me. We're in our 3rd month coming up on, we've done 3 months of being demonetized. It's fantastic. So go to grahamelwood.com. There's merchandise. There's all this great way to support me. And I have a new tour date. I will be my first headline show in over a year at the Blue Note in Waikiki. 2 shows Sunday, May 30th. So
what's the date?
Sunday, May 30th. It is Memorial Day weekend. So come on out to Oahu, Lee. And
do you feel like you're going to be rusty?
Oh God, yeah. I did a set, just a 15-minute set Wednesday night, and I was like, oh, geez, I was like, and it was plexiglass, and they check your temperature, and all the comics had been vaccinated and everything. So, but I did this bit I haven't done, and I did it like in the wrong order and forgot something. I was like, wow.
Right.
So I'm gonna be getting on stage like at least once or twice a week for the next month to make sure I got my shit together for May 30th. Right. But yeah, go to grahamelwood.com. If you live in Hawaii or want to come out and visit, come check that show out. And Ron Placone and I are going to be starting to announce tour dates in September and October, probably in the next month or so. We're starting to get holds from comedy clubs and stuff. So check all that out at grahamelwood.com.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye. All right, everybody. Wait, boom. Graham used slides. Yeah, we'll try to use more slides. Christ. All right, folks, let me read all of the tips over on Rockfin. Thank you, everybody, for supporting what we do. Tony DeMayo, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Tony, thank you so much for supporting our show. You've supported it a lot for a while now, and I very much appreciate it. Hey, Graham, in Oakland, cops killed a Latino man who was drinking in public by putting their knee on his neck, just like what happened to George Floyd. His name is Mario Gonzalez. Do you agree with me that cops should be abolished and replaced by social workers? I think God, that's so awful. I mean, there needs to be a drastic refunding and restructuring of our police departments. I've talked about this before on the show, but like, first of all, we need to spend, instead of all this money that police departments give, and I use this example all the time because it's pretty consistent with most major cities, is Los Angeles Police Department gets 54% of the city's operating budget. And if you took some of that money and instead of using it on tear gas and armored vehicles and rubber bullets and military grade weapons and body armor and spent it on like housing for the homeless, on treatment for mental illness, there's so many things you could do. You could take that money and I know the Blue Lives Matter people are, oh, so just cut the police and let madness reign, let Antifa go. You know, it's like, no, there's an actual plan to this. So what I would propose, and it'd be a great thing to discuss and debate, but you take that money and let's say you just cut their budget in half, and you take half of that money and you put it towards housing for the homeless. You have, so armed cops aren't dealing with somebody drinking in public. You know, first of all, you get housing in the homeless, that getting housing for the homeless, not shelters, housing. And in that housing, you would have job training, drug treatment, mental health treatment, all that stuff. And they've done the Housing First program in Finland and in Utah. It has an 80% success rate. Of course, Utah, they got rid of the program because it was too successful. So that would end, you wouldn't have homeless. And people would be integrated back into society. They'd be getting, maybe they're suffering, they have untreated mental illness. And they would be integrated back into society. So you would eliminate that problem. Then when the only time you would need armed cops, when then there's like a bank robbery or armed robbers, then you would have like a SWAT unit or something like that. Even cops wouldn't carry guns. They'd maybe have them in their trunk of their car. Again, if there's like an armed shooter somewhere, then okay. But just a speeding ticket, you would have unarmed traffic violation officers, you know, peace officers who pull you over. They don't have guns. So you're not afraid, especially if you're a black person, you're not afraid then that they're going to shoot you. They're going to just pull you over and go, oh, hey, you were speeding or you ran that red light. Here's a ticket, traffic school, all that stuff. So you're not afraid. You're not on edge because the person pulling you over is in essence a meter maid. You're not afraid of a meter maid killing you. So there's that. You know, you have social workers and mental health workers going to deal with the homeless, EMTs, stuff like that's where the money is being spent, doing outreach to help get people off of the streets and taken care of and back integrated into society. A domestic dispute, you have like de-escalation officers coming in there and to just calm things down rather than someone showing up with a gun. You know, and again, if there's like an armed robbery, yes, you would have police showing up with a gun that they're trained in. You would also eliminate this stupid Supreme Court ruling that says police departments can deny people with high IQs. You actually flip it and you say they have to have high IQs. They have to be intelligent. They have to be tested for empathy. We retrain them. It's not just like they spend all, and we've talked about it on Government Secrets, all this time is spent on how to kill people, how to take people down, and only a minimum of time is spent in de-escalation. So we'd spend way more time on de-escalation, right? So that's how I would see it. And I'm all ears to any, you know, well, Graham, we should actually add this or that to it, or take less of, I'm all ears. I'm not some, you know, refund the police expert, but let's get some people in there and bring in the data and all the research that's been done showing that this old way of policing isn't working. The spending money on all the riot gear and all that stuff isn't working. Another thing too, like you cut that police budget in half, and then there's a little more money for social programs. We're putting more money in schools. How many people need to protest? But most people don't want to go on the streets and protest. They want to live their lives. So we address the economic reasons for all of this as well. You would have less crime. You would have less police violence. You would have less police killings. You would have less all of this. And we'd have a better society. Great question, Tony. Boom, Tony DeMeo. Thank you again, my friend. Sechimo Cantanella. Boom. Thank you, Sechimo, for making Gotham great again. Donation for the PV Blazer Fund. I'm never going to wear a blazer. I could wear a long sleeve collared shirt sometimes. I'm never wearing a blazer because you can't keep these hidden. It's not fair to you, the viewers, to have these vegan guns covered up. They're too beautiful. You don't cover up the Mona Lisa. You don't cover up Michelangelo. You don't do that. This is too gorgeous, right? This is beautiful. Mira Maxwell, shave your knuckles for justice. I hate goddamn tech too. Thanks for figuring out the goddamn tech to keep us all sane. Thank you, Mira. Melissa H. What's up, Melissa? Shave your knuckles for justice. George Ryan was Republican governor of Illinois from 1999 to 2003. In 99, he announced a moratorium on executions in Illinois, and in 2003 commuted over 180 death sentences to life sentences, saying our capital punishment system is haunted by the demon of error of determining guilt, error in determining who among the guilty deserves to die. Will any governor stand up like that today? Wow. Thank you, Melissa, for sharing that with us. So use this as a reference point when anyone's like, oh, and it's a Republican, all the tough on crime. We love murdering people, Republicans. Well, one of your brethren actually had a heart, so you can do that. That's great. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Melissa. Kate, shave your knuckles for justice. Kate, our moderator, show Kate some love. And Chicago and Alderman wants to rename Lakeshore Drive into Jean Baptiste Point Disabled Drive. My friend who lived on Lakeshore Drive said the city should rename a street named after a racist like Columbus Drive. That's a good point. That is a good point. John Stowell, shave your knuckles for justice. Random, but listening to you encouraged me to start getting into crypto. Thanks for talking about it. John, I'm great to hear that. That's why I tell people, like, learn about it, make your own decisions, get your own information, only invest what you can afford to. 5 to 10% of your assets is a good way to go. I talk about it because it is a way for all of us to get empowered and get out of this brutal central banking capitalist system, which wants you just working just enough to pay your bills and to always have rolling debt. Buy stuff on credit card, always have some debt going on. That's what they want. That is what they want. So I think it's great that more people are learning about crypto, and do your own research and know the difference between Bitcoin and the altcoins. Each altcoin is different. That was fantastic that you're doing that. So really, it's really cool. I love hearing so many of you like, Graham, thank you. You've got me into crypto. And do your own research. Watch all those shows. The Moon, BitBoy Crypto, Crypto Casey, Altcoin Daily, Boom Bust, Max Kaiser. Get knowledgeable, get knowledgeable on it. And let go of all the emotion of all the foam. Oh, I should have bought this coin because it just went up 20 times, 20x, or just like, it's like surfing. You don't think, oh, I should have caught that wave. There's somebody surfing right now. Just be happy with the waves you catch. Be smart. And I'm glad you're doing that. It's your way out. It's financial freedom gets us out of the servitude that the ruling class wants us in. They want us in a shitty job or just getting by, or even a good job, like good paying job, but it has good health benefits. So then you're less likely to strike or go on the streets to protest or do a general strike or a work stoppage or anything like that. They want you barely paying your bills. They want you buying stuff on credit. They want you at their mercy. So anything you can do to get out of that is smart. Mira Maxwell, shave your knuckles for justice, Mira. I live in Oregon, where we have the Cahoots program and have had it for years. It is a model program for some of the police reform efforts. They intervene in mental health situation, a variety of situations where escalation is not preordained. It is possible to reroute funds to these groups without hurting policing, in fact, for the win-win. Yeah, and I think that's how you got to sell it, because I know cops who are like, I don't want to have to deal with, some homeless person with mental illness and they're on street drugs or whatever. I don't want to deal with that. Like I know in Santa Monica, that was like, cops were like, that's the number one thing we deal with is some homeless person, smashing something up, sleeping in somebody's driveway or doorway at a business or whatever, like going to the bathroom in the streets or like it's not good. And the homeless problem has only gotten worse in the last year, especially in Los Angeles and most major cities. The homeless problem, it just keeps getting worse. So it actually would make cops' jobs easier, and giving people free healthcare and free college and even a UBI would make cops' jobs easier because they wouldn't have to deal with all of the crime and the stuff that is motivated by financial inequities. So that's a great point, Mira. Thank you for sharing that with us. How do we have? We had 316 likes. That's cool. Yeah, we had like 500 people watching when Leah and I were doing it, which is, I love seeing that. All right. I got to go because I'm sure this plumber is on his way and I want to be here ready for him. All right. It says 317, right? That's what yours says. Now it's 322. Sometimes I see them a little bit later than you do for some reason. Like there's a little delay on my end when I see it. And hit the like button if you're watching on the Rock, baby. So we did the Political Village. Well, now we call it the Anything Can Happen game show with the Political Vigilante and Ron Placone. Two very funny comedians were on the show, Kira Sultanovich and Chris Mancini, my former co-host of the Comedy Film Nerds podcast. We did it last night. So what I'm going to start doing is the full episode of the podcast is going to stay either at Patreon or Rockfin Premium if you want to watch them. But I'm going to drop little, maybe 5-minute clips from the hour or so game show and drop it on Rockfin and YouTube just to give people a little taste of how fun it is. Yeah, join us, watch those. And I will be live again, Monday. Do I have any interviews lined up? Definitely Monday night for the Rockfin Premium, Monday nights at 8:00 Pacific, for sure. Yeah. So Monday, I don't have any other interviews scheduled yet, but we're still trying to line up Abby Martin. We'll get her on the show hopefully in the next week or so. Kira Sultanovich is so funny. She's my friend. I've known her for years. She's so funny. So because there's only so many like political comedians. So I'm just getting comics to come on the show too, because they're just funny. They don't have to be super knowledgeable about politics or crazy lefties like, Lee and Jimmy and myself and, Steph and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So it's another reason to do Rockfin Premium. You get you get the archives of all the game shows. You get all the karaoke videos. You get the Monday night premium members exclusive live stream. You get all this cool shit. So check it out. Anything Can Happen is the name of the game show. We've changed the name to Anything Can Happen. Good tight contest. You want to know who won? Tune in to find out. All right, let's sing a song. I know Jimmy's about to go live, so let's sing a song, everybody. Wow, Rose McGowan's going to be on Jimmy. Oh, that's going to be great. Check that out for sure. Yeah. And tell everybody in the Jimmy chat to subscribe to my channel if they haven't already and sign up to my Rockfin. Just put that in the chat, man. Let's see. What do we want to sing? What do we want to sing? All right, I got it. Rock lobster. I'm going to do Rome by the B-52s.
Only pay for what you need with Liberty Mutual and
Me. God damn. As Darien. I hear wind whistling. Like, hey, my guy. Oh, hey, guys. Darien here. And there's like a wind whistling totally in my ear. And normally I like that. But like, if I had these new earrings and they got caught in the wing and they like clang around, then it gets weird. But anyway. Hey, guys. Let's go on a trip. Oh, my God. I love songs like this. By Mercury shooting through every degree. Oh, girl, dancing down those dirty, dusty trails. I don't know why you want to dance outside. I'm totally not shaming that. We're thoughts on outside dancing, you guys, but I just don't want to get like my shoes dirty. Around the world, the trip begins with a kiss. Oh my God. I haven't seen it in forever. And Brian and I were just totally taking a break and Todd kissed me. And like, I was like, oh my God, I thought we were just friends. And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, oh my God. And then people were like freaking out on social media. So I was like, roam if you want to. Roam around the world. Thoughts and roams, you guys. Rome blessings. Like, oh my God, I want to go to Italy, right? Isn't that what the song's about? Love we feel. Skip the strip, airstrip to the sunset. Yeah, ride the arrow to the Target one. Oh my God, I got the greatest shoes at Target. Like, oh my God, I was no way was I like gonna buy shoes at Target. Like, oh my God, what am I? Some like comedian that can't afford to shop at a regular store or something, but they're so big. They're so amazing. Like, I wish I could show you guys. Roam if you want to. Roam around the world. Roam if you want to. Without wings, without wheels. Like, we're totally taking public transportation, you guys. You know, like, it's better for the environment or whatever. It's totally cool. Roam if you want to, without anything but the love we feel. But like, if you want to drive, I'm not shaming, like if you're not comfortable on the bus or whatever, but it's like totally cool, like to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I have this new Camry going, I love it. Oh my God. It's like this color of like, I think it's like a red burgundy wine or something like that. I forget the name of the color, but it's just amazing. Oh my God. Fly, great big sky, see the great big sea. Kick through continents, busting boundaries, you guys. Take a hip to hip, rocket through the wilderness. I like hiking, but if there's like too many bugs, it's like, I don't like it at all. It's totally weird. I'm not shaming anybody that's like super into hiking. Like, I had a friend of mine, Becca, and she loved hiking, but I was like, that's hiking. Like, well, it just feels like I'm going like on some sort of like bug attack or something. Roam if you want to, without wings, without wheels. Oh my God, but I love Becca. She's so sweet. Like, can we do something else other than hike? Roam around the world. Roam if you want to, without anything but the love we feel. Take it to the hip, rocket through the wilderness. I don't know that you want to shoot a rocket into the wilderness. Like, I think you just shoot those like into the sky or whatever, right? I mean, rocket through. I get it. Maybe you just like want to like run through the, like on a jog or something. I don't know. I do more Zumba dancing is like the class that I like. I think it's great. Like, whatever you're into, you guys, we're not shaming. We're not just work out however you want. Take the hip to the rocket on the wilderness. Take her to the hip, rocket through the wilderness. Take it hip to hip, rocket through the wilderness. I wonder if songs that they just run out of words. That's why they say the same thing over and over. Like, well, these rhyme. We might as well just keep saying these. Like, I totally get it. It's like wearing just the same shoes with different pants, I guess. Anyway, thank you guys. This was such a great song. I hope we all get to go to Italy. So Rome, you guys, thoughts and Romes.
This suit comes with expectations. Let's take the shield, Sam. I have bigger things to worry about.
I got bigger things to worry about.
That's our show. I know some people were missing Darien. We brought her back. We wanted to make sure she's back. Melissa H., Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for sorting us at rockford.com. We had emergency mental health program to have them on 24-hour call like paramedics. When people wanted to create the pandemic program, they were fought by many. Just think about how many lives they save now. Most people couldn't imagine not having them in our society, right? I love that. I love hearing these. This is why I love, like, let's sit down and figure out how to make this better. I'm open to whatever ideas, but this is how you make a better society, not just let a handful of oligarchs and corporations just plunder it. So thanks everybody for supporting our show. We will be back Monday at 8:00 Pacific time. And support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood, rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. They are, we got a copyright strike. We're still demonetized. It's just like, whatever, man. So support us somewhere else. Yeah. So thanks for watching our show, everybody. Follow the money, connect the dots. That's where you find the truth. And thanks for watching Government Secrets. It's really cool to do. 40 episodes, pretty awesome. So shave your knuckles. Darian explaining everything feels like a beautiful hug. Yep. Darian's not dumb. She's just kind of simple. She's amazing. So have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, work together, help out locally, get involved locally. The Democrats aren't going to save you. They can't be reformed from within. Neither can the Republicans. The two-party system is evil. Thank you for watching. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boo-boo!